see?
This is the architect.
Architect, no, do something. Shoot down the player. Players stop moving.
Can you see me there actually?
No, I can't see you. I'm not
It's like
moving.
moving around here.
Players stop moving.
Put the computer on the little shelf. Does that work? And then you just stand aside. Let it face off.
Well, we have somebody who's done this before.
We can't see you.
I'm just talking about planners and
Jason, why don't we have two projectors working?
Yeah, you can. I'll run upstairs.
Jason, you're terrible. You're killing us right now, Jason.
you have to stand away. You have to stand to the side. You have to
So how can we see where is the
Okay, so players stop moving. Players stop moving. Okay, architect, do something to clock up. Architect, shoot.
Players stop moving.
Oh.
Great. Alright.
It's like literally checking the middle.
Okay,
It's like moving that one.
players stop doing architect. Do something nasty to clock up. Oh, internet. Okay, player run towards something. Player.
Yeah, I mean,
So once you have bridge planted, you
so
can't.
there's like this flag thing, which is, there's like 11 numbers actually, so it's like kind of leading us to sort of legendary architectures. It's like ground zero actually, it's, yeah, we lost it.
Did the architect player set where the flags are?
Sorry?
Did the architect player set where the flags are? If that's what the lead, if that's what the game is, where you're being led from one number to another on a sort of path of architectural icons. That's what it suggests.
Is that architect? God damn it, architect, get out of the way.
Because one thing that's interesting about this, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want a third player, but that's only like close to the Lefebvrean loop, right? And if there are three active elements active players in the production of space, right? The architect here, your architect character, is one of them. You're producing representations of space from above, right?
Right.
Your user character here is the equivalent of are you living out some sort of spatial practice, and then the ones in the middle, the thing that produces representational space, right? You need like a poet, or you need the person that decides what's relevant, who can maybe move flags to steer the spatial practice user around, or can decide to collude with the architect here or there. But I absolutely want to close this thing. The Lefebvrean triad here, since two of them are such strong, parallels of how space is produced, and then you can sort of dramatize like the kind of like everyday action and the sort of cooperative events that occur between design and living in the city. And then that, because between those three elements, at least one argument is made, that's how space is produced. So then if you have three users all playing those different parts, you might be actually producing social space.
In a real world, right?
In this world.
Yeah.
At least that's the argument. I just want to finish the trial, because I think it's awesome. And no, you do not need to have done that in 7 weeks. So, anyway.
I agree, yeah.
That would be, yeah. That would be fun.
I'm just going to move on. There's we can.
Yeah, just move on. Yeah, just move on.
There's some models. So we're entering into the Columbia now. There's some, down there.
Look at Columbia.
There's an item actually.
You guys make all the assets or something?
Some of them were from SketchUp Warehouse.
Question is, did you make the bricks?
Yeah.
You just not.
Well, yeah, just looking at the buildings too, like,
It's
interesting,
Empire
right?
State.
See, brother, it comes
I really like the style, like, it seems like
Yeah, we just call it.
pretty good varying between like specificity when you need it, and then like.
What's that? Is that Zaha? Go right.
Which one?
What is that?
No, this is like a paper boat actually.
That's our goal.
That was our goal. This is pretty much that.
It's a good ship, Jesus.
That's a cool call. Oh.
It's like a ball.
Which channel?
So do you have to reach?
Well, this is it. This is pretty much it. We had pretty much time to do here.
Yeah, we actually want to achieve more, like with multiplayer setting. So it was kind of hard to like synchronize their movements and like spawning the objects on the same, like in the same server, like send the messages to the server and then like it was hard. The script.
Does Unity support that, or do you have to like hack it?
Yeah, they support some scripting, writing scripting, but we have to like.
I mean, multiplayer is not supported by default.
It is supported.
You do server clients. Yeah.
We need some more.
But this is like, I kind of said to them, maybe you don't want to do multiplayer, it's pretty hard. And I'm going to do it. And I did it. So it's like, it's kind of impressive.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. I like it, yeah.
He agrees it's kind of impressive.
It's multiplayer just on the global network.
Yeah, I think like, I think it's pretty cool. I love watching the bricks just come out of like this hole in the sky. So my feedback would be, one, very great. I love how sort of consistent, like your task isn't to assemble a bunch of shit on the internet and to find some content. Your task is to make a seamless experience. And so there's no way for us to know what you've authored and what you've assembled because everything comes together with fabulous. And so, you know, like I know how hard that is to optimize everything and to color treat it and to kind of get it all to look good. So that you should be commended on, you know, not just the logic of your game and its technical kind of synchronicity, but also like aesthetically. So I think now that you've got this, the game itself is right? But that's like, you can't do everything, right? So it's like,
Right.
so it's like now, like the brick thing is like a kind of proof of concept, right? And it proves that like something can happen and something can happen there. But I feel like you have so much architecture happening already, right? Like you're in a sort of a world, you're visiting architectural icons. Your goal is to kind of go through this like tour of the canon of Western architectural history in order to get to your goal. And then you are somehow, you're kind of like every sort of person, you're like a contemporary subject that's going to be, you know, educated into what good taste architecture is. And the architect is somehow trying to stop you from that. So I think like that could be like what the architect does and what the player does. You could kind of like think about that a little bit more, right? And whether the bricks produce beautiful piles in some way, whether they actually construct mini monuments that get in your way, and you're trying to get to the Western canon. This architect's like saying, hey, look at what I'm building instead. I don't know, like if there is an interest in like, kind of this canon and this historical Bible. Deanna Trail. We're about to run out. Maybe like what's worth to you is this alternative like, set of buildings, or this other sort of reading of what constitutes good architecture. And so that's all to say like everything you've done, like the concept's smart, technically it's smart, aesthetically it's like gorgeous. And now it's just like this, like this last tweak to like really push like the architectural potential of it, which is like the only sort of feedback. But like it's kick ass. Fantastic. You should put it on the internet.
The internet, all things on the internet.
I don't know.
I'm wondering how this relates to Minecraft. It's like Minecraft's this game that like just befuddles me completely. Like I'm just too old. Like I just got too old to at the wrong time. Because like I'm fascinated by it, but everything until
John,
like,
do you get Minecraft, John?
like I'm really fascinated by the thing of Minecraft.
I'm completely
Without-
fascinated by watching people like seriously play it.
Yeah, and without any ability to actually understand it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that fascinates me most. So, but there it's like this freedom, right? That you can build anything. But it's weird because from the first person. I grew up in a generation where like first person shooters were huge, so I get the first person thing, but the kind of construction of things. I remember the biggest thing that happened in first person shooters was destruction. Like that first game, I forget forget what it is, but where you can like shoot at walls and they come down, like that was huge, right? So I get that, but then the construction thing just completely like is lost on me. But you do get like these 6-year-olds who are building crazy cities. They're like trained architects basically, and they're building like Farnsworth houses and Empire State buildings out of these blocks. It's really fascinating. So I was just wondering like how, because you are like having these blocks and you are creating these like abstract versions of these monumental architecture, and you're talking about architects, like you're kind of like in the same territory, but I was wondering if you can have like a different take on the whole Minecraft thing, that maybe it is about destruction and not, there's not so much freedom or something like that. Because it doesn't, well maybe one way to say it is like the blocks feel very different from the world, where in
Yeah,
Minecraft
kind of just
everything is-
colorize the differences, right? They complement everything else is like in group green.
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah, that's kind of the.
was intentional. I know, yeah.
Yeah, like Minecraft, everything feels like the same. It's just like a resolution thing.
I think it feels super soft though, you know, like even the bricks don't feel like they've occurred, which is nice almost. You can also breaks like, but it doesn't feel like it falls over because it's burning, so it makes the whole cloud experience kind of like at least a lightness to the game rather than the violence, which is nice. PG.
I like this planet on the edge.
Yeah. That is crazy pants.
I'm very impressed. And I just think like, yeah, like, maybe I can have a meta conversation about like the role of 7-week visual studies within architectural, like, architectural education. And where like a kind of a technology is sort of relative comes into that. I don't know, like I think my position is it's an emerging technology in our gaming. It's still like almost too hard for everybody to do. It's just almost too hard for like any architect to go. So you need like someone to just like give you the gateway. But I barely showed the class anything, like everything that I've done has been incredibly self-driven as well. So it's not that technically right? It's almost like, but this kind of technology right now, like gaming, virtual, any architectural application right now is in the realm of visualization. It's like, how do we like give you a better walkthrough, right? How do we like make really great virtual reality? And then any kind of like application of virtual reality in VR and Oculus Rift or like Google Cardboard, is driven by commercial interest. And so, you know, like this one was kind of saying, like, what are the sort of possible trajectories for this technology can we imagine? And so the more architecturally, and right now like artists maybe aren't having any say in the direction of technology, even though it's incredibly spatial and it's going to change the people, or like people interact with their city, like all for wants of technology do. So yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, well, I mean, there are other alternatives relevant to architecture for these technologies, but they follow an older history of architecture. Like, it's fallen out of practice that social public pedagogy be the sort of obligation and responsibility of the profession of architects, right? That is something that we practice, right? As a part of the process. And so that there might be experiences that could be designed using those technologies that follow that kind of practice, right, is a distinct possibility, especially in these last few projects. Especially that there are, multiple players, that design is a negotiated process, that space is a negotiated product. Right?
I'm sorry.
Teach that. And that should be taught. But again, like, we haven't in like a couple decades, or architects haven't widely played that role, and they bitch and moan about it every time architectural industries go south, that nobody listens to them. But they, have stepped down from the role of either public intellectual or public pedagogy. But I think these are excellent ways of putting architectural thinking into the public.
So what I would say to this is, sorry, like, Hal Foster kind of talked about how, that somehow like we've given up the sort of the impulses, the passions and the desires of people, popular culture, and like the same people that we want to engage in a conversation like ours, to the right. You know, we're kind of like, oh, if anyone's like a fan of sport, or if anyone likes entertainment, or if anyone likes games, or if anybody likes this stuff that's like part of like the entertainment and kind of part of consumption and kind of consumer culture, we're not going to do that. Like, this is how we're going to engage. We're going to engage people through like this high level kind of or creative. So I think
condescend to deny their cities.
yeah, so I think like, what are the people's passions? Like if people like playing fucking games, that's awesome. So like, why don't we like use that? Like rather than saying, here, instead of doing that, you should be like reading these books on architecture and like looking at our plans. Just like, okay, so like that's the kind of challenge that I'm giving you all now, which is like, you've kind of got this could be just like this fun thing you did for 7 weeks ago in your portfolio, and it's like the cool VR thing, and VR's hot right now. And you know, when you VR, when you came in, right, and you're like, ooh, I did a cool visual studies. Ooh. Or this is like the different, but instead of producing plans, you produce games and you publish it online and people play it and it tells them something. And like this can go online in 15 megabytes, right? Like you can put this on your website now. And why are we like talking about working that way? So like that's the kind of, that would be my challenge to everyone. It's just like, okay, you don't necessarily, every visual study that they're like, well, we have more time, we should do this. It's just like, you now have like something that's somewhere between a medium, a tool, a design space, and a kind of like a perceptual device.
And social intervention.
Social, what do you want to do with that? Like if you keep using it in some way, I think nobody's using it, like it's yours to invent, it's used. And the only way we're using it right now is kind of commercial interest. So that would be the challenge I would give everyone.
I think it's really provocative. Like on the one hand, games has this kind of idea of playfulness and diversion, right? It kind of takes you out of your world, but at the same time, like